The Fox Queen's heir lost, the human who crossed lines and stirred forbidden lust. The ambassador's arrival. The royal spaceport of Neria glittered like scattered diamonds against the purple dusk. Taran Kell adjusted his formal attire nervously as the diplomatic vessel completed its final approach. After 3 years as Earth's junior ambassador, this assignment felt impossibly beyond his experience, an emergency diplomatic mission to a civilization humans had only contacted 18 months ago. Ambassador Kell, the automated voice announced. Prepare for atmospheric adjustment and landing protocols. Taran checked his breathing apparatus one last time. Nerians could process Earth's atmosphere easily, but humans required minor adjustments to comfortably breathe on Neria. The difference was small enough to allow direct interaction, but significant enough to remind everyone that they weren't the same species. The ship settled onto the crystalline landing pad, with barely a tremor. Through the viewport, Taran observed the welcoming party. Tall, elegant figures with skin tones ranging from pale lavender to deep violet, their movements graceful and measured. The Nerians. Remember your briefing, Taran whispered to himself. Direct eye contact is respectful. Keep your hands visible. Reference the Starlight Empress with full honorifics. As the gangway extended, Taran stepped forward into the sweet-scented air of Neria. The senior diplomat who was supposed to lead this mission had fallen ill suddenly, leaving Taran to handle a situation that could determine the future of interplanetary relations. A tall Nerian with elaborate silver markings along her arms stepped forward. Ambassador Kell, I am Marina, first counselor to Her Radiance. The court welcomes you, though we regret the circumstances necessitating your arrival. Taran bowed precisely as instructed. The Earth Alliance extends its concern and assistance to Her Radiance the Starlight Empress in this difficult time. Marina's eyes, startlingly silver against her violet skin, assessed him carefully. Follow me. The Empress awaits with uncharacteristic impatience. The procession moved through corridors of polished stone that seemed to capture and amplify light. Nerian architecture favored open spaces and natural materials, creating an environment that felt both alien and strangely comforting. The Empress's daughter has been missing for 7 rotations, Marina explained as they walked. Princess Zara entered the ancient ruins in the Northern Territory and simply vanished. Was she alone? Taran asked. The princess has always been... Marina paused, choosing her words carefully. Independent-minded. She dismissed her guards, as she often does. But she has never disappeared this long. They entered a vast circular chamber where light danced across curved walls. At its center stood the Starlight Empress, her deep purple skin adorned with luminescent patterns that seemed to shift and flow like constellations. Even from a distance, her presence commanded the room. Your Radiance, Marina announced. Ambassador Taran Kell of Earth. The Empress turned, her silver eyes fixing on Taran with an intensity that made him momentarily forget protocol. He recovered quickly, performing the formal greeting. Ambassador. The Empress's voice resonated with a musical quality unique to Nerians. Your arrival is most timely. My daughter has vanished, and with her, the future security of our world's alliance. I'm honored to assist your Radiance, though I'm curious why you requested a human for this task. A subtle expression, unreadable to Taran, crossed her face. The ruins where Zara disappeared contained technology from an ancient civilization that once connected our worlds. Human physiology responds differently to these energies. You may perceive things our searchers cannot. And, she continued, lowering her voice, my daughter has always been fascinated by human culture. If she is hiding deliberately, she might reveal herself to you where she would avoid her own kind. As servants brought forward maps and information crystals, Taran realized this mission involved far more than finding a wayward princess. The Empress's fingers, 5 on each hand, just like his own, trembled slightly as she activated a holographic display of the ruins. Find her, Ambassador Kell, the Empress said, her voice both commanding and pleading. Find my daughter before those who would use her disappearance to destabilize our world succeed. Taran nodded solemnly, studying the strange architecture of the ruins while wondering what kind of princess would abandon her responsibilities during such politically sensitive times, and why she might respond to him specifically. Tracks in the crystal forest dawn broke over Neria's horizon in shimmering waves of amber and rose, casting prismatic reflections through the legendary crystal forest. Terran adjusted the environmental controls on his expedition suit as he followed Lyris, the royal tracker assigned to his mission. The slender Nerian moved with practiced silence, her purple skin taking on a pearlescent quality in the filtered light. "The princess came this way 5 rotations ago," Lyris whispered, her 5-fingered hand pointing to disturbances in the crystalline soil that Terran's untrained eyes would have missed entirely. She was moving quickly, purposefully. Not like someone lost or in danger. Terran processed this information carefully. "So your assessment aligns with the Empress's suspicion? Princess Zara left voluntarily?" Lyris's silver eyes narrowed. "I track. I do not assess political implications, Ambassador." The rebuke was gentle but clear. Terran nodded and returned his focus to the path ahead. The crystal forest was unlike any ecosystem he had studied in preparation for this mission. Towering formations of translucent mineral life absorbed and redirected sunlight, creating a network of rainbow-hued beams that intersected and danced across the forest floor. Between these crystal giants grew bioluminescent undergrowth that pulsed with soft light. "The ruins should be just beyond that ridge," Lyris said, pointing to a distant outcropping. "But I must warn you, the energy fields grow stronger near the ancient structures. Your communication device may become unreliable." "Understood," Terran replied, checking his equipment one last time. The solemnity of his mission weighed heavily on him. Interplanetary relations hung in a delicate balance, with factions on both worlds watching closely. They had barely crested the ridge when Lyris suddenly froze, her posture alert. "What is it?" Terran whispered. "We are being watched," she responded, her voice barely audible. Before Terran could react, a flash of movement caught his eye, a figure darting between crystal formations with impossible speed. Lyris immediately gave chase, and Terran struggled to keep pace, his human reflexes no match for Nerian agility. The pursuit ended abruptly at the edge of a small clearing. There, perched atop a fallen crystal spire, sat a Nerian female whose bearing immediately marked her as royalty despite her practical attire. Her skin was a deeper violet than most, with natural markings that shimmered with an internal light. Her eyes, a startling golden hue rather than the typical silver, regarded them with amused defiance. "Princess Zara," Lyris said, immediately dropping to one knee. "Rise." "Lyris," Zara commanded, her voice melodic yet firm. "I see my mother has escalated her search efforts to include off-worlders now." Her gaze shifted to Terran, curiosity replacing amusement. "A human diplomat, if I'm not mistaken." "How fascinating," Terran bowed formally. "Princess Zara, I am Ambassador Terran Kell, your mother. Her Radiance, the Starlight Empress, is deeply concerned for your safety." "Is she concerned for my safety, Ambassador, or for the stability of her political alliances?" Zara leapt down from her perch with fluid grace, landing just feet from Terran. Up close, he could see the intelligence in her eyes, the subtle tension in her posture. "Both, I imagine," Terran answered honestly, "though I believe her maternal concern is genuine." Zara studied him for a long moment, then unexpectedly laughed, a sound like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. "Honesty. How refreshing." She circled Terran slowly, evaluatively. "Tell me, Ambassador, has anyone explained why I left the court?" "No, Princess. I was simply asked to help locate you." "Then you've been sent on a fool's errand with incomplete information." Typical. Her expression hardened momentarily before she turned to face the distant ruins. "I didn't leave on a whim, Ambassador. I left because I discovered something in those ruins. Something both our governments would prefer remained buried." Lyris shifted uncomfortably. "Princess, perhaps we should return to the palace where—" "You may return if you wish, Lyris," Zara interrupted. "Report that you found me well and unharmed. But I require the Ambassador's assistance before I consider returning." The tracker looked conflicted, her loyalty clearly torn between her direct orders and her princess's command. "Give us until nightfall," Terran suggested diplomatically. "If the princess hasn't explained her discovery by then, we can all return together." Lyris reluctantly agreed and departed, leaving Terran alone with the enigmatic princess. "You've created quite a stir." "Your Highness," Terran remarked as they began walking toward the ruins. "Call me Zara," she replied. "And yes, I suppose I have." Her steps were measured, confident. "Tell me, Ambassador, How much do you know about the ancient civilization that once connected our worlds? Very little. It's barely mentioned in our briefing materials. Zara smiled, a mysterious expression that transformed her features. Then prepare yourself for a revelation that will change everything you thought you knew about human-Nerian relations. As they approached the ruins, the air began to hum with energy. Terran felt a strange tingling across his skin, not unpleasant but definitely alien. You feel it, don't you? Zara observed, watching his reaction closely. Humans are more sensitive to the residual energies. That's one reason I needed you specifically. Your mother mentioned something similar, Terran admitted, though she didn't explain why. Zara's expression darkened. Of course she didn't. She paused at the entrance to the ruins, massive stone arches inscribed with symbols that seemed to shift and change as Terran looked at them. Before we go further, I need to know if you're prepared to see truth rather than diplomatic fiction, Ambassador. What I'm about to show you could upend centuries of carefully constructed narratives. Terran hesitated only briefly. I believe in truth, Princess. No matter how uncomfortable. Their eyes met and something unspoken passed between them. A recognition, perhaps, of kindred spirits who valued honesty over expedience. Zara's lips curved in a small smile as she extended her hand toward him, 5 delicate fingers splayed in invitation. Then follow me, Ambassador Kell, she said softly, and discover why our worlds have been kept apart for far too long. Secrets of the Ancient Temple. The interior of the ruins defied Terran's expectations completely. Rather than the crumbling decay he had anticipated, the ancient structure hummed with life, walls lined with luminescent material that responded to their presence, floors inlaid with circuitry-like patterns that glowed beneath their feet. What appeared dilapidated from outside revealed itself as a technological marvel within. These ruins are over 10,000 years old, Zara explained, her voice hushed with reverence. They predate both Nerian and human written history. Taran ran his fingers along a wall panel that brightened at his touch. How is this still functional after so long? That's one of the countless mysteries, she replied, leading him deeper into the structure. But more importantly, these ruins contain evidence that humans and Nerians aren't just distant allies. We're biologically connected. The claim was so startling that Terran stopped mid-stride. That's impossible. Our evolutionary paths were manipulated, Zara finished, by the same ancient civilization that built these temples. They seeded both Earth and Neria with life designed to evolve along parallel paths. They entered a vast circular chamber dominated by a massive crystal suspended from the ceiling. As they approached, it began to rotate slowly, projecting star maps onto the walls around them. I've spent years studying ancient texts, Ambassador. Zara continued, her golden eyes reflecting the shifting light. There were whispers, legends about a connection between our species. When official contact was established between our worlds 18 months ago, I intensified my research. She approached a control panel and placed her hand, 5 fingers splayed onto its surface. The crystal responded immediately, its rotation increasing as new images appeared. Cellular structures, DNA sequences, evolutionary charts. Look at this, she urged, pointing to parallel genetic sequences. Beneath our superficial differences, your peachy skin tone, my purple pigmentation, we share foundational genetic markers that couldn't possibly have evolved independently on separate worlds. Terran studied the projections, his diplomatic training temporarily overwhelmed by scientific curiosity. But why hide this? If we're connected, wouldn't that strengthen our alliance? Zara's expression darkened. Power, Ambassador. The revelation threatens those who benefit from keeping our world separate and dependent on controlled interaction. My mother's council, your Earth Alliance, they've built careers on careful negotiation of differences. She paused, looking away briefly. And there's more. She led him to another panel and activated a new projection, one showing energy patterns flowing between humanoid figures, one Nerian, one human. The ancient texts speak of a bond between our species, a connection that goes beyond diplomatic relations or even biological similarity. They believed humans and Nerians were designed to complement each other energetically. The implications hung in the air between them. Taran felt a strange resonance within himself, as though something long dormant was awakening. "Is that why I can feel the energy in these ruins more strongly?" he asked. "Yes," Zara confirmed. "And it's why I needed a human to fully activate the temple's central chamber." Her eyes met his, direct and challenging. "The ancients designed this place to respond to our combined presence, a Nerian and human working in unity." Taran considered the diplomatic implications with growing concern. "Your disappearance. It wasn't just about this discovery, was it? You're planning something." A smile played at the corners of Zara's mouth. "Perceptive, Ambassador. Yes, I intend to broadcast this knowledge widely, to both our worlds simultaneously. No more secrets, no more artificial separation. That could destabilize everything," Taran cautioned, though part of him thrilled at her boldness. "Or it could heal an ancient wound," she countered. "Don't you feel it, Taran? Standing here with me, don't you sense something familiar?" The use of his first name caught him off guard, as did the subtle shift in her demeanor. The royal formality had faded, replaced by an earnestness that seemed to reach directly into his core. And yes, he did feel something, a peculiar resonance that defied rational explanation. "I need your help," Zara said, moving closer. "The central chamber can only be activated by both of us together. Will you help me reveal the truth even if it challenges everything you've been sent here to uphold?" The air between them seemed to crackle with energy, partly from the ancient technology surrounding them, but also from something more primal, more personal. Taran became acutely aware of her proximity, of the strange familiarity in her golden eyes. "What exactly would this revelation mean for our worlds?" he asked, his diplomatic training reasserting itself. "Freedom," she whispered. "Freedom from artificial constraints, the possibility of true integration rather than careful separation." Her hand rose hesitantly before resting against his cheek, the touch sending an unexpected current through him. And perhaps something more. The moment hung suspended between them, duty against truth, protocol against possibility. Taran knew his decision here would echo far beyond this ancient chamber, potentially reshaping the future of two worlds. "Show me," he finally said, covering her hand with his own. "Show me what we were meant to be." Zara's smile was radiant as she led him toward the heart of the temple, their fingers intertwined 5 against 5 in a connection that felt impossibly ancient and breathtakingly new. The Hunter's Moon. The central chamber pulsed with energy as Taran and Zara worked frantically to decode the ancient temple's secrets. Above them, through the crystalline dome, Neria's 3 moons began their rare alignment with the distant star humans called Arcturus. "The Hunter's Moon," Zara explained, her golden eyes reflecting the celestial display. "When the alignment is complete at midnight, the temple's broadcast capabilities will be at full strength." Their work was interrupted by echoing footsteps, royal guards, searching the temple corridors. "My mother would never allow this knowledge to spread," Zara whispered urgently. "The traditional separation between our species is the foundation of her reign. Why maintain these barriers if our connection has existed all along?" Taran asked. Zara's violet fingers brushed against the control panel beside his. "Fear. Fear of what happens when humans and Nerians truly connect." Her eyes met his with startling intensity. The ancients wrote of partnership so profound that paired individuals could sense each other's thoughts, share each other's strengths. "A threat to established power," Taran concluded, understanding dawning. The voices grew closer. Zara pressed her palm against a hidden section of wall, revealing a secret passage. "The broadcast isn't ready. We need more time." They fled through hidden corridors as armored guards entered the chamber they'd just vacated. The passage twisted through the temple's infrastructure before opening into the twilight-bathed crystal forest. Massive crystalline formations captured moonlight, creating a labyrinth of luminous pathways and shadowed hiding places. "There's a cavern system beneath the ridge," Zara said, leading him swiftly between the glittering spires. "We can shelter there until midnight." The pursuit intensified. Royal guards and others whose voices didn't sound Nerian. "The separation faction," Zara explained grimly as they ducked behind a crystal formation. Extremists who believe any connection between our species threatens Nerian purity. They'll silence us permanently if they can. As they navigated the glittering forest, Taran became aware of a strange resonance building between them, an ability to anticipate Zara's movements, to sense her intentions almost before she expressed them. They reached the cavern entrance as the largest moon crested the horizon. Inside, bioluminescent crystal formations responded to their presence, leading them to a chamber containing a pool of glowing water. 2 hours until perfect alignment, Zara said, her voice echoing softly. The guards won't find us easily. The immediate danger temporarily abated. Taran became acutely aware of their isolation and the intensity in Zara's eyes as she studied him across the glowing pool. The energy they had experienced in the temple seemed amplified here, creating an almost palpable connection between them. "You feel it too," she said softly, approaching him. "This resonance between us, it's what the ancients engineered, what both our governments fear." "I've never experienced anything like it," Taran admitted as she stood before him, close enough that he could see the subtle patterns in her violet skin. "The convergence isn't just political or biological," she whispered, her hand rising to his face, fingers tracing features so different yet fundamentally similar. "It's about profound connection between complementary beings." Taran felt energy flowing from her touch directly into his core. His hand rose to mirror hers, fingers, 5 just like hers, tracing the contours of her face. The moment his skin contacted hers, the cavern pulsed with light, the pool swirling with heightened luminescence. The ancients didn't just create a connection between our species, he realized. They created the possibility of completion. Their palms met, fingers aligning precisely. The energy that flowed between them broke down barriers of consciousness, understanding flowing directly, unfiltered by language or difference. When their lips finally met, it felt like the culmination of 10,000 years of separation, 2 halves of a whole finding their counterpart across the void of space and time. In that sacred space, as Nyria's moons aligned overhead, they discovered what the ancients had always intended. A union that transcended physical form, a connection that transformed 2 beings into something greater than either could be alone. Between 2 worlds, dawn painted the crystal forest in gold and amber, as Taran and Zara faced the contingent of royal guards and officials who had finally located them. At the center stood the Starlight Empress, her silver eyes assessing them with carefully controlled emotion. "It's time," Zara said softly, squeezing Taran's hand. Through their newfound connection, he could feel her resolve as clearly as his own. "Daughter," the Empress called, strain evident beneath her composed exterior. "You've caused quite the diplomatic incident. I've discovered the truth you and the Earth Alliance have conspired to conceal," Zara responded, chin lifting slightly. "By now, both our worlds know about our shared origins and the connection the ancients designed between us. You've destabilized a carefully maintained balance," the Empress said, her gaze lingering on their joined hands. "A balance built on deception," Taran countered. "Both our governments knew of the ancient connection yet chose to keep our peoples artificially separated. The convergence creates bonds that supersede planetary loyalties," the Empress replied sharply. "How can either government function when its citizens might be more connected to those of another world than to their own kind?" "Perhaps both our governments need to evolve," Zara suggested, her voice carrying the authority of her royal lineage. The ancients understood that connection strengthens rather than weakens. The Empress studied her daughter with a complex expression. "You've experienced it, haven't you? The full convergence." "Yes," Zara acknowledged. "What you and Father shared before political expedience drove you apart." The Empress's composure faltered momentarily, revealing old pain quickly suppressed. "Then you understand the sacrifice required, the choice between personal fulfillment and duty." "I reject that false dichotomy," Zara responded firmly. "Our broadcast contained not just historical truth but demonstration of the benefits when our species work in harmony." Taran stepped forward. "The ancients engineered our species to complement each other, biologically, psychologically, energetically. What we've discovered isn't a threat but an opportunity. Reports are coming in from both worlds," Zara added. "The revelation has been met with fascination, with recognition. Others like us, Humans and Nereians who sense the connection even without understanding it are coming forward. The Empress was silent for a long moment, her gaze moving between her daughter and the human diplomat. Finally, she sighed, a sound that seemed to release centuries of tradition. "Show me what you've discovered," she said, turning toward the temple. "Show me what you've become." Inside, displays showed information spreading across both worlds. Reactions, questions, testimonials from others who had sensed the connection without understanding it. "The ancients created a system that would eventually bring us back together," Zara explained, guiding her mother through the data. Taran and Zara placed their palms against a central panel, the chamber filled with projections demonstrating the enhanced capabilities of converged pairs, accelerated healing, shared sensory experiences, complementary cognitive processing. "This is what was taken from you, wasn't it?" Zara asked softly, "when you and Father separated for political reasons." The Empress's composure finally cracked. "It was deemed necessary," she whispered. "The bond between us threatened crucial negotiations." "And nearly destroyed you both," Zara observed. The texts warned that severing a convergence bond causes lasting trauma. Understanding dawned across the Empress's features, the recognition that personal sacrifice had perpetuated a harmful system. "What would you have me do?" she asked finally. "The systems of separation have existed for generations." "Begin by recognizing the convergence as natural and beneficial," Taran suggested, "and establish a joint commission of converged pairs to study the ancient knowledge." The Empress nodded thoughtfully. "The Earth Alliance representatives arrive tomorrow. Perhaps it's time for new approaches." Later, as Neria's moons rose once more, Taran and Zara stood overlooking the crystal forest. The temple glowed with renewed purpose in the distance. "What happens now?" Taran asked, though he could sense the answer forming in Zara's mind. "We build something new," she replied, her violet fingers intertwined with his. "Not human, not Nerian, but a bridge between worlds." Her golden eyes met his with certainty and affection. "The ancients created the potential for connection, but what we build with it is entirely our own." As they gazed at the stars connecting their worlds, Taran understood their journey had only begun. The convergence between them was not an ending but a beginning, a first step toward the future the ancients had envisioned 10,000 years before. Two species designed to complement each other perfectly, two worlds separated by distance but united by shared origin. Between them, something new was taking form, something born of connection rather than separation, of unity rather than division. And as Taran and Zara embraced, sending ripples of energy through the ancient system still monitoring their convergence, the stars themselves seemed to pulse in approval. The experiment begun millennia ago had finally reached fruition. Two halves finding wholeness, two worlds becoming one,